Good morning, everyone. This is our PowerPoint presentation of Group 2, Chapter 2, entitled of The Filipinos During Pre-Spanish Times. Pre-Spanish period. Long before the arrival of the Spaniards, Asian Filipinos were living in scattered barangays and ruled by different chieftains. Although they were living separately, they were similar in many ways: the religion, mode of dressing, houses, system of government and marriage practices, and economic activities. In short, they were refined and civilized to possess a distinct culture and distinguish them from other races. House. House were made of light materials like wood, bamboo, and nipa palm. A ladder was placed to prevent strangers from intruding when the owner was not around. Strong paws of the lower part of the house was enclosed. A jar of heart was placed in a gallery called batalan. Some of them built tree houses to protect themselves against their enemies or from being attacked by wild animals. Male clothing consisted of the upper and lower parts. The upper part was called jacket with short sleeve called kangan, while the lower part was a strip of cloth wrapped around the waist and between the legs called bahag. Males used two pieces of clothing or a headgear called putong. Putong symbolized the number of persons that were had killed. Female clothing, they wore baru or kamisa, a jacket with leaves. The lower part was called saya. Social classes nobles. Social classes nobles, who were composed of rulers and their families, occupied the highest class. They were usually addressed as gat, lakan, raha, or datu. Freemen were the working class, aliping namamahay, were not full-fledged slaves. They had their own respective families and their own houses. They were required to serve their masters only during planting and harvesting period. Slaves were classified into two. Aliping sa gigilid were the real slaves. They were homeless, forbidden to form their own families, required to stay in the master's dwelling, and they could be used as a payment or debt. Government. The government was called barangay. There was no national government. They were mainly independent barangays and datus, but there was no datu strong enough to unite their archipelago into one nation. It was headed by the rule called datu or raha. Power and functions of datu: implementing laws, maintaining peace and order, giving protection to his subjects. He also made the law with the assistance of group of elders who gave advice. A newly enacted law was made known to the public through town carrier called Umaluhukan. He acted also as a judge during trial. It was easy for the datu to run for the barangay since the population was very small. Taxation. Asian Filipinos was started the practice of paying taxes. The purpose of paying taxes was simple. It was for the protection they received from the datu. The collected tax was called buwis. Non-payment of taxes was already punishable during this period. Alliances. Like community of nations, alliances among barangay were formed. The purpose of forming alliances was for trade, peace, and mutual protection. An alliances was sealed through blood, compacts sanduguan to ensure conformity, sincerity, and commitment of the chieftains. Trial and determination of guilt. Judicial process was influenced by religion. The manner of determining guilt of the accused showed the religiosity of the natives. They waited for the intervention of deities. The judicial process was called trial by ordeal. Example: holding lighted candles by the suspected offenders. That would serve as a chief judge who was assisted for raising the future bride during the regency period to be paid by the groom's parent also, including the bride's wet nurse received a share of dowry. It was called bigay susu. Mixed marriage, that was marriage between couples belonging to different social classes, were not common. Early Filipinos practiced divorce. Several grounds of divorce were adultery, abandonment of the part of the husband, cruelty, and insanity. Religious and beliefs. Before Roman Catholicism and Islam were introduced, native worship many gods and goddesses but hala, supreme supreme being Idinaynail, god of agriculture Sidapa, god of death Agni, god of fire Balangaw, god of rainbow Mandarangan, god of war Lalahon, god of harvest Sini Narugan, god of hell. They also believe in the immortality of souls and life after death. They were sacred animals which they venerate like white monkey, manaol, and crocodiles. Superstitious belief natives believe in aswang, witch, duende, tiny creature like humans, kapre, tall and ape-like creatures smoking cigarettes, usually found on trees, mangkukulam, tikbalang, tiyanak. They also believe in magical power of amulets and charms such as anting-anting, mangkukulam. Ornaments. The native wore an ornament made of gold and precious stones. Women, including men, wore armlet, leglets, bracelet, gold rings, and earring. Putting tattoos in their body was practiced. Male having money tattoos were admired because it signified bravery in war. Education. The purpose of education during their time was for survival. Their father, on hunting animal, taught males fishing, agriculture, and other economic activities, while their mothers, in managing the household, taught females. Economic life. Domestic trade of different barangays from different regions and islands were made possible during boats. Foreign trade was carried on with countries like Borneo, China, Japan, Cambodia, Java, and Sham, Thailand. Music. Each community had their own sets of musical instruments. In the account of Pigafetta, the official historian of Magellan expedition, women from Cebu were harmoniously playing cymbals, nose flutes, bamboo mouth organs, brass gong, flute, long drum, bamboo, harp, water whistle, guitar, xylophone, drum. Dances. The most ancient dances called Bitrak dances. The most ancient dances called Bitrak traced to the war dance in order to incite the warlike enthusiasm of the natives. They danced primarily to please their gods, Anitos, and the spirit was believed were always jealous of the action of the natives. Their dance could be described as the pantomimes today. They also dance during festival and other merrymaking occasions. Language and system of writing. Eight are considered major language, namely Tagalog, Ilocos, Pangasinan, Pampangan, Sogbuhanon, Hiligaynon, Maguindanao, Samarnon. They also had their system of writing. The ancient Filipino's alphabet consisted of 3 vowels and 14 consonants. Natives wrote in many different materials: leaves, palm fronds, tree bark, and fruit rinds, but the most common material was bamboo. That's all, and thank you.